First off, I'm going to be hard on Apple in this review. However, I want to be as fair as possible. So if you own a pair of HomePod minis, and if they're meeting or exceeding your expectations, please let me know in the comments below. I want to know if I'm doing something wrong in terms of using these HomePods, because otherwise I have to base this review on my own personal experience. And I can tell you right away that these HomePods for me so far are a disappointment, and they really are not the best product that I own from Apple. So I'm going to get into it, but as I said, please let me know if I'm doing something wrong. Let's talk about the pros of the HomePod mini. First off, all you have to do is ensure that you're running the latest version of iOS, you turn Bluetooth on your phone, and you place it right next to the HomePod. From there, the LCD screen is going to light up on top of the HomePod. You place your iPhone's camera over that LCD screen, and from that moment on, you are automatically paired with the HomePod. The second set of pros that I have to say about these speakers is that they sound really good. So I'm not expecting these HomePods to fill up my room with sound. And all I bought these HomePods for is basically to play back music and to play YouTube videos and to watch movies through the HomePod and get better sound than I have with my older set of speakers. So in terms of sound quality, it really is a good set of speakers. I noticed some people were saying that the bass level coming out of these speakers are not the greatest. However, for my needs and what I've listened and experienced to, the bass level is just fine for me. So those are the two really big pros for using the HomePod mini. But now we have to talk about the disappointment. Going into this, I didn't have high expectations for these speakers. All I wanted to do with them was to listen to music from the music app. I wanted to watch movies with better sound quality. And finally, I wanted to use these speakers to better monitor the audio when I edit these videos in Final Cut Pro. Unfortunately, the HomePod mini fails in all three of those categories. And overall, it has been a poor experience for me in whatever I wanted to do with these speakers. And the biggest issue that I have, which I hope that I'm wrong and I'm doing something wrong that maybe that you guys can correct me on, is the fact that there is a lot of sound delay or audio delay when I start streaming audio from my computer over to these speakers. Now, this is a known issue. I haven't seen this come up in the YouTube reviews. However, by doing a simple Google search, I can already see that a lot of people are having issues with the audio delay from the time when they press play on their system to the time when when the sound finally gets to the HomePods. The delay is about 2 to 3 seconds. And unfortunately, if I want to edit videos in Final Cut Pro, that is simply not going to cut it because the video is going to advance and start playing, but the audio has yet to catch up with it. And that is absolutely the biggest trouble that I have with these speakers and why they're such a disappointment for me. And it really brings me down because when I bought these, I was really stoked on getting them. But the actual user experience with that audio delay is absolutely poor and unacceptable. So that is my biggest issue that none of the other reviews really brought up in the in YouTube videos or YouTubers. However, in my experience, it's just bad. There are two workarounds to mitigate the audio delay when using the HomePods. First, if your application utilizes the AirPlay protocol, such as the music app, you'll notice that there's a lot less latency from the time when you press the play button until you start hearing music coming through the speakers. However, this is not foolproof because in certain situations, if you're scrubbing through the audio file and if there's not enough of a buffer there, what I've been able to do is I was able to crash the music app. So even though you have this mitigation in place and it does work out for the most part, just be aware that if the speakers or the buffer cannot keep up with what you want to do in your app, there is a chance that the application is going to crash. If you want to watch videos using VLC Media Player, the workaround is to set an audio delay of negative 1900 milliseconds. From there, when I watch movies and listen to people talk, or if I'm watching skate videos, negative 1900 seems to be the sweet spot in terms of being able to watch your movies without the audio delay, and it does become a watchable experience. The only drawback is whenever the video starts to repeat, or if you close VLC Media Player, VLC is not going to remember that you set the audio delay to 1900. So even if you start a video from the middle of the video back to the beginning, VLC is not going to remember that audio delay, and you have to go in and manually punch it out and go back to negative 1900. One of the most annoying things about using the music app is the way in which you adjust the volume. Now, there are two ways to send audio to the speakers. First, you can do a system-wide audio adjustment by hitting the speaker icon in the menu bar, and from there you can manually select the bedroom speakers that I have set up. The other way of adjusting volume is inside of your music app. If you turn on AirPlay, you can further adjust the volume using the volume slider inside of the music app. Now, this is irritating to me because if I'm switching back and forth, say between watching a YouTube video and listening to music, and if I want to make sure that the music does not come out too loudly, I'm going to have to adjust the slider in the music app. However, if I want to switch back to watching YouTube, for example, I'm going to have to select the volume control in the top of the menu bar. So having two separate ways to control the audio is not a good user experience because sometimes I have the music app running in the background, and therefore switching back and forth quickly and efficiently from using the system audio control in the menu bar versus using the volume control in the music app does get confusing and it does get annoying. So why am I having such a poor experience with these HomePods? Now, based on my research, I think Apple is using Wi-Fi as the audio transport. And the thing about Wi-Fi is that you have to go through a Wi-Fi router. So I have one of the best case scenarios set up for my HomePods. I'm hardwired over Ethernet from my Mac into my router, and from that it sends it out from Ethernet into Wi-Fi. And I think the reason why Apple chose Wi-Fi as the audio transport is because it allows for a higher bit rate and you're going to get a better fidelity of sound by listening over Wi-Fi. However, all of this latency just for a little bit of audio quality is really unacceptable. If Apple went with Bluetooth, for example, that's using a point to point connection, and there isn't as nearly as much latency when listening to music. So, for example, when I stream music from my Apple Watch to my AirPods Pro, it runs perfectly because it's running over Bluetooth. And even though the bit rate is limited to 256 kilobits per second, it really doesn't matter. And the audio sounds great running over Bluetooth. And I think if there were one design change that Apple could do with the HomePods, is to turn it from not from Wi-Fi, but turn them into Bluetooth speakers. So those are all of the issues that I've been having with the HomePod Mini. It really is a disappointment. And I'm going to say right now, the way that it is with this firmware is that it is the worst Apple product that I currently own. And I own a lot of Apple products. So these are the things that I wish Apple would change in the future. However, for the time being, until the audio delays really does get fixed, if it is fixable, the HomePod Mini is a disappointment for me. All right, that's about it. Peace.